Okay, so we're on to number 10. I thought there was only going to be 10, there's going to be an 11. Number 10 is recommendations. As I said, don't bracket these together with conclusions. They are different animals, related but different. Recommendations depend very much on the conclusions, but they're not actually part of the conclusions. Where we left off was conclusions are conclusions about your title, the research gaps, and what all of that means. Now, recommendations that you're about to recommend are going to be your response to that in the knowledge of you, your function, your missions, your boss, your department, the business function, the company, and its aims and objectives, strategies, and everything else. In the light of the conclusions you have drawn, what are the potential responses to this? And quite often, guys, before you just say, so we must do this, there could be any number of potential solutions, potential improvements that you might make. Don't just say, so I recommend we do this. Well, I think you need to start with this particular aspect was not very positive. And we understood it was not very positive because of this failure early on in the process. How does one go about changing that failure? Well, it could be a function of recruitment and not having the right person with the right qualities, the right qualifications, the right experience in that place. It might actually be something to do with our systems and processes. It could actually be something to do with both of those. So don't just jump to one knee-jerk, so all of that means this one thing. You really have to think it through. Otherwise, you're going to face us at the Soutenance, and we're going to be saying, well, I can think of at least 5 or 6 other causes of that problem. You've just come up with one solution to one potential cause. What if I'm right and you're wrong? You really need to think this through, because describing something, describing the company, describing your stage is not master's worthy. That's worthy of a student in troisième ou seconde. Anybody can describe anything. What we are looking for to see your master's worthiness is your ability to be able to join the dots between things, to be able to use your analysis, your experience, your knowledge of the company and its systems and processes to say, well, if this is clearly the problem, there are these 3 areas that we need to address, and area A needs the manager to take this on board and to do that and that. Area B needs to do that. Area C needs to do that. It isn't just necessarily one thing. And one thing we certainly don't want to hear is, right, you've read my conclusions, everybody. Someone should do something about this. That is not master's worthy. You are just saying, I've gone away and I've looked at something. It's not very good. Your problem. But the point is, you have a mission. You chose the subject. You chose to go and research something to come up with conclusions. You have to make decent recommendations as a result of it, and they need to be well thought through. What do I mean by that? Well, who should do it? Sorry, what is it first? And is this the only possible solution? Who should do it? Is it the boss? Is it his boss? Is it next year's stagiaire? Is it the accountant who needs to vote more money in this? Is the payday check? Who is it who needs to do that? Why does it need to be done? How critical is this thing to solving this problem? And will it produce the benefits that you expect? Will it turn things around? Will it make things 10 times better? What will it achieve? So you need to go through the who, the what, the when. Perhaps the next stage could be a way of moving this agenda forward. I don't know. Or perhaps it's something that the moment you leave is given to somebody else. Or perhaps it's something that there should be a new post created for, and you would just love that post to be able to carry this agenda forward. Who, what, when, where, why, and most importantly, how. How should the company do this to make sure that they have the most effective response to this problem that you've defined? The most economic way of going about it, not spending a huge amount of money if we don't need to. The most efficient, the simplest, the least complex, the easiest. Back to the ease again. Okay, economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and maybe equity, fairness. So that's what you need in your conclusion. Now, if I asked my colleagues, I am absolutely certain that most people would say that most students' final recommendations are poor. Not necessarily because they are weak students, sometimes because they bracket conclusions and recommendations together. They don't see the difference. Sometimes because all of this comes at the end of the report, which comes close to the deadline for the university, so it's rushed. But this, guys, is our acid test, our litmus test. This is where we see how good you are. Not at regurgitating company documents and putting them in the appendix or in part one of the research. That's irrelevant for me. If you want to impress somebody, you impress somebody with how well you do your analysis and evaluation, whether the conclusions you draw are legitimate, and above all, if those conclusions are valid, how well you think through in detail how the solution can be found and put into practice and what the company stands to gain as a result. Look, you know the system better than we do. You've been working in the company for 9 months or 5 months or 6 months. You know who reports to who. You know where the problems lie. You know the channels of communication. You know more about this subject even than your boss will know about it. It means you are the best person. You are the person best equipped to come up with the most effective, efficient, and economical system for change and improvement in performance. Now, I said to you, and I'll repeat it right at the end, I said to you in your intro to research class, don't talk to me about the effort. Show me the baby. Don't talk to me about the labor pains. Show me the baby. The baby is what happens after 9 months. The baby is not the input, not the process. It's the output of all of that. It starts, the contractions start with your conclusions, but the baby arrives with, let's see, with a fanfare. The baby arrives with the recommendations. And that's what we're looking for. That's where you show your master's worthiness. So please, please, please don't quit out on yourself, on the quality of effort you've put in and the time that you've put in by cutting back on your conclusions. You mustn't do it. It's the most critical part at the end. Okay, there we go. All I need to do now is to do one more session on kind of wrapping things up. Because you may have finished the last line in your report and taken your pen metaphorically, off the paper. But there are still things that we need to consider. So I will try to go through those with you on the last, and I promise you, absolutely final video. As I said, I tried to do 10 and it's wound up as being number 11. So, okay, we'll go on to that, and then I'll put these up online, and it should be available to you in a couple of days' time. So by still early middle of May 2021. I will also send all of these to your other teachers, because your common language is English, and it might be something that will help you as a guide through the process, and therefore it may just save you a lot of time, and your colleagues too. Sorry, my colleagues too. All right, thank you very much. One more to go then. Bye for now.